Hey fam, what's good? What's good? I hope that you're well and keeping safe. Welcome back to another one. So today, all I'm gonna find myself doing is show you guys like how I am approaching the charts. And to those who's new to the channel, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe, right? And I'm gonna show you guys just a few of my 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 steps, I guess, right? So starting off from our H4 time frame, right, we still do have our areas marked off as how we did. We can see that our equal lows has been violated over the course of Monday, right? Opening price came, can you guys see? Our lows has been taken out. We created a BOB, closed above, came back for the retest. We had to fill up the gap, right? So the longs was pretty much clean. So our equal lows has been taken out. So all I'm gonna find myself doing is basically just adjust this, change the name to just simply sell side liquidity. Let's look at our highs over here, as we also pointed out that, you know what, that actual weekly closure we find ourselves having, I made mention that this does not mean anything to me, right? Because it is an actual indecision candle, and we do have some equal highs coming through as well, and we can see that those equal highs has been taken out as well. And all we simply did find ourselves doing is basically just have a break of structure. We continued with our actual bullish momentum as how our COT report suggested to us as well. All right, now let's see what can potentially happen on our actual NASDAQ for this coming week. So with this momentum back towards the upside, right, we can see that we created another actual order block right over here. So all I'm gonna find myself doing is just simply box out these two candles, mark them off as my actual BOB, just like that, right? This BOB is now serving as a point of interest for if we can see the shift back towards the downside. This is our nearest magnet on our H4 time frame to where we can potentially find ourselves magnituding price back into. All right, so let's scale to our H2 time frame, see what is up, what is happening over here. Can we basically how can I say, can we refine our area? And yes, we can find ourselves refining our area, right, by simply boxing out this region right over here, which will come through as my area of demand. All right, so we're just simply finding ourselves refining. We can see that we had a strong bullish momentum, bull, right? And over here, this is something quite interesting in my eyes, right? Because now we have found ourselves taking out the previous candles low, right? Basically showing us that there is a potential short-term short that can find itself coming through, right? Because we can see that we never took out the previous low of the previous candle. Look at that, 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 right? But here we did, however, find ourselves having the actual closure below that candle, right? So just keep that in mind. You know what, you always have to find yourself looking at it from a perspective of kind of logic, right? Like the signals that is basically shown to you within the charts. All right, like it's honestly not hidden. It's literally just there. Okay, so looking at our H1 time frame, here we can also just see we had a steep upside momentum. I know that this over here is highly confusing because we just have a up down, up down, up down candles right over there, basically showing us that our longs and our shorts, they are kind of battling each other, right? Which is like another signal to why we can potentially expect somewhat of an actual shift back towards the downside when it comes down to the New York Open. Okay, so let's look at our 30-minute time frame. What is our 30-minute time frame telling us? 30-minute time frame, you know what, we can consider these lows coming through over here as some relatively equal lows, right? So we do have liquidity resting at this area. I'm just extend it just like that, mark it off as equal lows, boom, just like that, right? So we can potentially find ourselves having an actual shift, taking out these equal lows for potential further continuation move, or we can just simply find ourselves having somewhat of a change in structure so that we can find ourselves having a further continuation move back towards the downside. Right now, this is where our rules is going to find itself coming forth based off the logic we have just found ourselves building on our actual higher time frame, right? So one thing we can basically say is that we are overly extended towards the upside, right? We are creating bull. We are creating higher high, right? So we need somewhat of an actual pullback. towards the downside. So now we need to find ourselves building somewhat of confluence to where potentially we can see the short go, or how we can potentially participate within the shorts. All right, so we already established that our nearest point of interest will be these equal lows we have found ourselves creating right over here. Okay, we already have found ourselves establishing that. Now we can, over the course of the New York session, have somewhat of a shift towards the upside. We have no data to which we can compare to over here, right? But all we need to find ourselves doing is simply just wait for a change in market structure so that we can find ourselves looking for some shorts opening up. Okay, so now first of all, let's box out our midnight candle. All right, let's go. So our midnight candle will be somewhere over here. This candle right over there. Okay, now let's find ourselves boxing out our daily lows and our daily high. Right, now do we really need to find ourselves boxing out our daily high if this is what is currently happening? Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily, because ultimately this is our daily high, which is currently finding itself happening, right? Or if you want to find yourself boxing out the 830 high right over there as our buy side liquidity, you can also simply find yourself doing that right there. Our daily low is basically coming through right over here, as we haven't found ourselves taking out the low, right? So our daily low is coming through right over there, daily high right over here. Okay, so now we already have established our daily high, our daily low, right? If we need to see somewhat of an actual pushback towards the downside, it should be somewhere within the middle, right? Somewhere within from a premium area back to a discounted area. Can you guys see that these equal lows, they are also finding itself lining up within an actual discounted area? So you know what, these equal lows, they are quite relative or relevant to find ourselves looking for some shorts, you know what, to potentially find itself coming through all the way back down here. Now these are scalp opportunities that we are going to find ourselves looking forward to, right? Scalp intraday opportunities. Okay, so now all we're gonna find ourselves doing is just simply head over to our lower time frame, and all we are gonna find ourselves doing is simply wait, right? We are just simply gonna wait. Let's look at our our 1 minute time frame. All right, so on the 1 minute time frame, all we basically just want to see price do is the following. If we want to look for some short opportunity, we're just simply going to wait for a pattern like this to find itself coming through, right? This area will serve as your breaker. All you're going to find yourself doing is wait for price to come all the way back up, back into it, and we are going to find ourselves then having a beautiful short back towards the downside. Now if your win to reward ratio is allowing you to find yourself having a 1-to-2 ratio, let's say for instance the pattern is going to find itself occurring right over here, right? Let's say it's happening like this, bang, right? A nice little big one. Now let's say for instance you can find yourself having a 1-to-2 ratio. Where is my shorts? Right there, bang, right? Let's say for instance you know what, you are going to place your stop loss at above this high right over here. But you know what, if you can find yourself pushing like 30 pips, that's all good, right? To have that actual 1-to-2 ratio like that, that is clean, right? You can find yourself doing that, perfect, right? But now let's say for instance you who are finding yourself having something like this occurring, right? Let's say the pattern is much smaller, right? Maybe it's happening right over there, or not necessarily right over here, but you know what, a smaller one as it is right over there, right? You can simply find yourself still having your 30 pips in place, right? However, you can find yourself just dumbing down your actual stop loss as well, right? You can dumb down your stop loss just so that it can be above that high and also above that high, because ultimately you don't want to see price take out this high nor that high, right? That is the rule. Do you necessarily have to still find yourself taking price all the way back down, back into your actual equal lows? No, not necessarily, right? You can simply still find yourself just having that actual 1 to 2 ratio. This is a quick scalp, nice, clean, in, out, and you're done, right? So that's just like an extra tip I can throw in there for each and every single one of you when it comes down to yeah, our pattern or our trading methodology. All right, so as if now, you know what, it is 3 o'clock South African time, right? 9 o'clock New York time. So all I'm gonna find myself doing as if now is just simply wait, and then I will come back to you guys when it is 3:30, right? Basically the New York Open. So let's wait. All right, so New York Stock Exchange it's officially here, right? Nice little push towards the upside. So we can basically see that buy side liquidity has been taken out, right? So all I'm basically now having my eye out on is this area over here, right? A little bit of a break of structure, and then this low right over here, like this down close candle right over here. I'll consider that as my low, right? So if we're basically gonna have the break below this area over here, this simply means that we are having a change in market structure, right? A market structure shift, MSS. All right, so all I can be at this point is patient and just simply wait for my pattern to find itself opening up. Right, currently we can't see anything just of yet. We can't just go short, we can't just go long, right? This is the 1 minute time frame as well, so we need to be patient and just simply wait for price to open up what we want. All right, even if price is gonna find itself having a closure below this up close candle, right, that will be a significant structure shift, if I can, or point of interest whatsoever, because then this up close candle will basically turn into a BOB, and our actual entry will then simply be based off this candle right over here. This up close candle we have found ourselves forming right there. But as of now, you know what, all I can find myself doing is being patient. Okay, patient. So right there, we can see we have a closure, right? Or not a closure, but a break. Is it valid just yet? No, it's not. We need to see a closure below. Okay. We need to see the closure below. Bang. So a BOB has been created. This is valid for me to go short, 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 short. Right. Nice little 30 pips. It's for a nice little 60 pip gain. Bang. Just like that. Okay. Boom. Now why, like, we didn't have a closure below this area over here, right? Now on a lower time frame, right, unfortunately I can't go lower to a second time frame, right? But on a second time frame, what is happening over here will basically be what we are waiting for on our 1 minute time frame, right? That's why it is super important for you to be able to read the candlestick itself as well, right? There you can see that buy side liquidity has been taken out, right? There we can see that a low has been violated as well. So if I can just simply use this area over here, just imagine that this candle is not here just of yet, right? The candle next to this candle, right? Just imagine that that one is not there. What you will simply see is the following. Check this out. Like that. And then this. Boom. Right? So this area will represent this area right there, right? This area represents that area right there, right? So what we can basically see is buy side has been violated, right? Over there. Okay. The low is coming through right there, which will basically be this area over here, right? And then we can see that the following candle basically had a closure below that candle, which is this one over here, right? The bear candle. So can you see that the candle basically, or the formation that we have found ourselves forming over here, is basically what we want, right? But this will obviously be on a second time frame. Okay, this is a minute time frame, a 1 minute time frame. So all I basically then found myself doing is just simply wait for the retest, right? Back into my breaker, back into my area of supply whatsoever. We do not want to see price take out that high. We do not want to see price take out this high over here as well, right? So to be quite safe, all you can just simply find yourself doing is place your stop loss above the high right over here, right? And then find yourself having your actual 1-to-2 ratio, right? Nothing complicated. All you need to find yourself doing is just simply know your candlestick anatomy, right? And to simply find yourself following your rules as well, right? A step-by-step rule. That's it. That is literally it. All you need to find yourself having is some rules in place. And make sure to find yourself staying to the end of this content so that you can find yourself seeing how I am finding myself having a step-by-step breakdown on how I am basically viewing price, right? And this will be a more in-depth breakdown on how I am basically finding myself approaching the NASDAQ on an actual day-to-day basis when it comes down to a nice little scalp opportunity, right? Or an intraday opportunity. You can literally do the exact same thing when it comes down to an actual swing trade as well, where you find yourself being focused on what's happening on the 1 minute time frame. No, not necessarily, right? You are gonna find yourself working with your higher time frame more, and obviously your actual your stops will be more as well, right? You're gonna find yourself risking a little bit more as well. All right, but as if now all we can find ourselves being at this current moment is being patient and just wait for price to do what it needs to do. Okay, so clean stuff. Can we see that we had can you see that we had our change in market structure right over here? We can see we had a steep down close candle right over here, right? Closing below our point of interest. So we can see that we never had a wick thrown back into this area right over here, right? So this area is still serving as an actual magnet to where price can potentially find itself coming back into, to then have the actual shift back towards the downside, right? No need to panic. No need to find yourself there's no need to find yourself panicking if you see price come all the way back up. You just need to find yourself knowing why, right? That's it. You just need to know the why. And if price did, however, find itself having the closure below, we did find ourselves coming all the way back up, back into this area to come retest, right? This will then be concerning, right? Because then it simply means that there's no untested areas, there's no magnets above price over here to where we can be like, okay, cool, this is an area to where we can potentially reject from price, right? So we do have an actual point of interest, we do have a magnet, right, to where price can potentially find itself heading back into for a further continuation dip back towards the downside, right? So you just need to find yourself reading price. That is it. All right, but as of now, let's find ourselves waiting and let's see what price has in store for us. Let's go. And that is how we do it, right? Clean stuff. If you find yourself liking this content, make sure to like and subscribe. To all the new ones, welcome to my channel. If anyone asks you, hey, this is Takeover Forex Institute, you need to find yourself paying for A, B, C, D, and E, that is not me, right? If anyone is telling you, my name is Diego, you need to pay for this, that is not me, right? I do not sell anything. And if I did, I will tell each and every single one of you. All right, so that is it from me, your boy D. Make sure to check out this video right over here, and I hope you are going to find yourself enjoying it. And make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's me, your boy D. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. I'm out.